Hey everybody, James here with Fish Room Fever. So today we are going to be transforming this 20-gallon long into a dirted planted tank. Just wanted to kind of give you a before shot on it. Not going to have the best camera angles just because we are in the hallway, working on the hallway rack. So there's not a ton of room, but we'll do what we can. Basically right now it's just a bunch of cherry shrimp, and then a pair of super red bristlenose. There's one in the back. And then these plants I pulled out of another tank. They're just kind of floating at the moment. I'm going to get all the plants out of here, catch all the livestock, get the caves out, substrate out, drain it, clean it, and start it fresh. So we're going to jump over to taking a look at the dirt and the sand and how I'm going to get that prepped and ready. So I will be right back with you. Alright, so we're going to do this part outside. There is the sand that I'm going to be using, the pool filter sand from Quikrete, and I have the organic potting soil there, organic garden soil. I've not used this brand before. They used one similar. This was the only thing they had when I went. And then we're going to be using that blue little tub there to clean our dirt, and I'll explain that in a moment. You don't really need to rinse it like you would say pea gravel substrate from Home Depot or Lowe's, but we're going to use that to get some of the floating debris out before we put the dirt in the tank. So let me get that set up, get the sand moved out of the way, and I'll show you what I'm doing there. But there are the two main ingredients. There are other things you can add to the dirt. For really in-depth details on that, go check out Father Fish. He's got some great videos on dirted tanks. Okay, so I've got this set up with some of the garden soil and water in here. Basically what I'm going to do is remove all this floating debris, which I will say this brand has got a lot more than the previous brand I used, but I'm going to put it into another container because I can still use that for other purposes. Basically I want to get all the floating stuff out just so it's not trying to push its way through the soil. I wanted to keep this right here that's sinking. So you can, a couple ways you can do it. If it didn't have quite so much, I'd just overflow this tote here so that it would just pour out into the yard, and I'd be doing it over in the garden area. But I don't want to waste all of this garden soil here that is floating. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop it into another container and basically rinse and repeat. Alright, so I've got it rinsed out. We've got a couple inches of dirt in here, which will be plenty for that footprint of the 20-gallon long. That's about how much extra or debris there was that I scooped out of it. Once I got down toward the end, I did just overflow the tub and let the remaining floating debris just go over the top. You could use a net and scoop it out if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be perfect. The reason I do this and the reason I'm showing you this is I had some questions about that floating debris in particular. Also people mentioning they tried to do this at home and the dirt was just floating up through the sand, or was pushing up on the sand a lot and seeping out into the tank. So this is a real easy way to help prevent that from happening. So now that we've got this ready, kind of what we're looking at for the texture, this is the finer stuff. I'm going to go inside, we'll get the tank rinsed out, and I will show you the steps I use for setting up a dirted planted tank. Alright, so my initial plan was to show you the dirt going in the tank, but A, that was going to be extremely messy, and B, it was going to be time consuming. So I did in fact cheat. I actually took the tank out of the rack, dumped the dirt in it, and then I just took a paper towel, wiped the excess dirt that was on the glass off of there. And you can see about how much dirt we're going to put in here, just about an inch or so. Now I'm going to add the sand, and then we will move on to the planting portion. But I wanted to give you all an idea of about how much dirt, kind of just above the trim line there. Got it flattened out and leveled. So let's see if I can do this part on camera here. We're basically just going to take our sand, scoop it out of there, and very gently just come across the top here. Once we get a solid foundation, we can move a little bit quicker. We're trying to keep the sand from going down into the dirt. We just want it to go on top of the dirt. So I'm going to do that, and in an effort to keep this video a little bit short and sweet, if you will, I'm going to cut the camera and I'll come right back to you once I've got the sand in. But that's pretty much what we're going for there. So once you've got a layer, you can dump in a little bit quicker. So I'm going to get the sand added. We're going to do about 2 to 3 inches of sand, and I'll come right back with that finished result. Alright, so we've got the sand in. That's about the depth I'm going for there. Just a couple inches. As Father Fish would say, add more sand, but I think I'm going to go right there. Here's one I did previously. I actually did this on a live stream with Father Fish. Thank you again to him for hanging out and doing that. So if you want to see the setup of that tank, go check out that video. I'll put a link in here, either somewhere in the video or down in the description. You can check that out. But I've got the sand in here. I didn't rinse the sand, some of you probably noticed. The reason I did not was because I found just about every time I filled a sand tank or a dirty tank with sand, it gets cloudy anyways. So I'm actually going to fill this and drain it, and then I'll do the legitimate fill of it once we get some plants in here. So I've got this set up here. I actually came up with this at the Big Fish deal when we had to quickly fill up our Aquascape tanks for the competition. And all I had was a bottle of water that was provided. So I just took the water bottle, sliced some holes in the sides of it. It worked really well there. Words are hard. I actually had several of the other contestants borrow it so they could fill their tanks with it. And then I've got a plate underneath it just to help keep from agitating that sand into the dirt. But I'm going to go turn the water on and we'll take a look at how that works. Alright, so we've got the water turned on. It's at a decent rate. It's not super fast, but I'm going to let this fill up, see just how cloudy it gets. If it looks like it's not going to be too terribly cloudy, I may not fill it all the way. I may just fill it partially. Drain it back down to where the sand is still wet, and then I'm going to do my planting before I fill it all the way up. But that's how we're doing that. As you can see, it's not digging up the sand, so good job there. That'll keep us from getting a lot of dirt up into our water column and on top of our sand. I'm going to let this fill and drain it, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I went about 4 inches up on the water and it wasn't cloudy at all, so I just went ahead and cut it there. I do have a water conditioner in there just so I don't kill all the bacteria on that sponge filter that I put back in the back. Right now I'm just kind of playing with some hardscape pieces. I've just got those sitting in there. And I'm probably going to take that plant there and glue it on top of that rock. And I'm just kind of playing around to see how I like it before I get it filled up. I've got some other plants here that I'm going to add in. Possibly another piece of wood. I do have 2 caves that I'm going to put in. I've got one of these, and then I've got one of the watering spikes, because this particular pair has not decided which one they're going to use yet. All of my others use the watering spikes, and this is the blue-eyed lemons. The tank I just showed you was just standard bristle nose, and this is going to be the super reds going back into here. So this is going to have a pair of super red bristle nose, cherry shrimp, and then I have got some guppies on the way that I ordered. I'll do an unboxing of those and show you what those are when they come in the mail. But I'm going to get back to playing with Hardscape. This is one of the really fun parts for me, is just kind of messing around, moving the rocks and the wood and the plants and trying to decide how I want it to look. Just keep in mind, there are tons of videos on quote-unquote how you should scape a tank. But when you're doing it for the house, just do it the way that you enjoy looking at it. Do it how you want it to be. Okay, so I did add the plants in. Initially I was going to cut back to you with just the hardscape, but I found that I was having an issue deciding exactly how I wanted the hardscape until I got the plants in there. So I've got the plants in, hardscape in place. I went ahead and topped it off. I've got the bristle nose acclimating right now. Just a little tip / trick for anybody that's got one of these marina hang-on breeder boxes or any type that has the airflow. If you get one of these dual valves, you can run one end to the uplift tube like it's designed, run the other into an air stone. That way, like when these guys were sitting in this box while I was doing the tank, I just had the air shut off to the uplift valve and oxygen / circulation going in there. And then as soon as I was ready to start acclimating them, I turned the air up to the uplift tube, and now they're being slowly acclimated. That also gives you the option to adjust just how quickly you acclimate things. So if you've got one of those already, add a two-way valve on there, and that'll make life a lot easier for a lot of different purposes. I'm going to let them acclimate for a little bit longer. I'm going to catch some cherry shrimp and move them down below, and I will get back to you when this hang on is out of the way and you can get a good shot at the overall tank. Alright, so here we have it. It is set up. Got about 30 shrimp in there currently. I've got probably 200 more, including all these little ones up top, that are going to be moving down when I reset that tank above it. There is the female super red bristlenose. The male is already hiding. I did put one of the caves back in the back. Got the other one tucked in there. Put some pieces of wood on top of it. We've got some floating plants as well. Again, I don't have a lot of room to work with, but you can see just how far back I can get the camera. We can adjust it that way. Kind of give you all an overview of the whole tank there. So that's what we're looking at. Again, there are going to be people that don't care for the quote-unquote scape of the tank. I did it the way I thought it looked neat, and that the fish and the shrimp would enjoy it, and it would be beneficial to them. So if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more uploads like this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, drop me a comment down below, let me know what some of these plants are that are in here, give you some close-up shots on them. Some Java moss glued to a piece of wood there. And of course, if you haven't already, do me a favor and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Until then, keep your fish healthy, keep yourselves healthy, and catch yourself a little fish room fever. Bye, everybody.